the equation that worked last year, until the Nuggets made it very clear they had no bench, the Suns, was let Devin Booker be Devin Booker. Let Kevin Durant be efficient. Let those two guys be the offensive catalysts. But this year what you got is guys like Grayson Allen when he's out there, or Royce O'Neal when he steps in from time to time, who can hit those open threes that you didn't really have last year.
Well, I feel like we all kind of took a sigh of relief after that game ended and the Suns came out victorious, because for a minute there, it was a little shaky.
When?
A little shaky.
When?
Third quarter.
No.
Had me stressed.
No.
I was
No.
stressed. I don't care. I was stressed.
You never had that moment where they felt out of control, where it
Yeah.
felt like they were falling into complete bad habits.
No.
It felt like runs. Cavs were going to make a run.
Mhm.
Suns withstood it both times that you saw a run, both in the third and the fourth. These last two games are probably the best I've felt in those situations, because it
that's
didn't
fair.
break down at any given point the way it had severely in those other games that they had those major malfunctions.
It's got to be the best 2-game stretch in terms of control that they've had this season. I honestly, really halfway through the first quarter, it just felt like the Suns were in control, and they didn't really let up at all. Had a double-digit lead going into the second, going into the third, and going into the fourth, and they didn't really let up. Teams are going to make runs. You just know that they're going to make a run, but can you withstand the run, and then can you answer back at the time you have to answer back? And Kevin Durant was really crucial in those moments. Devin Booker was grooving all game. They both were playing at a high level. Only the second time, as you said earlier, that both have scored over 30 points in the same game.
Which is insane.
It is kind of insane.
Absolutely
this
insane.
year, right? Like
This year.
Yes.
This is the equation. We saw it work last year. I think they were too concerned about trying to get Brad Beal involved in the offense and trying to get him, 18, 20 and all these things. But the equation that worked last year, until the Nuggets made it very clear they had no bench, the Suns, was let Devin Booker be Devin Booker. Let Kevin Durant be efficient. Let those two guys be the offensive catalysts. But this year what you got is guys like Grayson Allen when he's out there, or Royce O'Neal when he steps in from time to time, who can hit those open threes that you didn't really have last year. You got a center that does the little things. Maybe he only has 2 points, but he's efficient on the boards. He gets some nice dimes. And then Bradley Beal can be that, that Chris Paul light that, play that role in ways. Not as effective necessarily in terms of passing at times, but the one thing you're missing is Bradley Beal having a killer instinct at certain moments when he can attack, right? But to me, letting Devin Booker be Devin Booker is something that should have been done this whole year, and putting Bradley Beal, when he was out there, when he wasn't injured, as the primary ball handler. It just makes a lot of sense to let Devin Booker do what he does best.
I understand, though, why they would turn to Book to be point Book in this situation, even with Bradley Beal on the squad.
At the beginning of the season, I did.
And
Yeah,
Brad was,
for sure.
for one, he was injured.
Yeah.
So you kind of had to turn to him. But even if he wasn't injured, I get why you would experiment with him being your primary ball handler.
Yeah, because he's shown that he has the propensity to be able to do it.
Yes.
But when you weren't getting the efficiency from everybody else, you had to start tinkering with what was going on, and that's what the Suns did. And I'll give them credit for adjusting a little bit. And when Bradley Beal started to feel like Bradley Beal again, you could see probably about 15 games ago they started to maneuver in this direction, and he started handling the ball a lot more. And it's paid off. Now, my whole thing, again, we said this in the pregame, I said this in the entire watch along, I still don't like what Bradley Beal is doing completely. I don't like that he's being so passive. I don't like that he's passing up open shots. He's still got to play at a higher level. I think you're not asking for him to drop 25 or 30 a game, not in this role, but you still got to give me 15 to 20, and you still got to give me, somewhere between 5 to 8 assists, right? That's what I need to see from Bradley Beal.
So-
but he has been doing everything else very solid.
Gerald mentioned last night, and we've talked about this before multiple times on this show, that Bradley Beal is the guy who had to adjust the most with this squad. He's been asked to change basically what he brings to the team the most. And because it's only been a handful plus of games, or I guess a dozen or so games of him being the primary ball handler, it's going to take some time for him to find the perfect balance there, where he is his primary focus right now, just understanding where his teammates are going to be, where he needs to get the ball, that kind of stuff, before he worries about getting his in terms of points. Because you have KD and Book combining for 72 points tonight. You don't necessarily need 15 to 20.
I'm not talking about anything in depth more than like when the ball swings and he catches the ball and he's got the mismatch, taking advantage of those mismatches, right? There was a time where he made a nice move against Jared Allen in the key at the basically the free throw line. Jared Allen dropped back like 5 feet. He had a wide open jumper, and then he like jumped, and then he jumped past it to the corner. And I was like, that's not the right play. You have the higher percentage shot. You got to take that shot. Like the smart basketball play. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, trying to figure out where your teammates are at. I understand if like somebody makes a backdoor cut and you throw it the wrong way because you're just not used to them. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But what I'm talking about is you just got to take advantage of those opportunities when the defense does give you the opportunity to score. You got to take advantage of that. And that's what's going to take this team from a good team to a great team, in my estimation.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that he needs to take more of those shots that feel open. But what I want to see is that aggressive Brad Beal that was going to the hoop with some authority earlier in the year. If you get that guy, like that is at key moments attacking the heart of that defense, throwing it down, getting a good layup, like those are momentum changers, right? And I feel like he could be the guy that at times provides the haymaker. You got Book and you got KD doing their thing, and then all of a sudden Bradley Beal goes down the lane and just rips your heart out, right? That's where I want to see him come into play, is being that aggressive guy that has been part of his calling card throughout his career, and finding that. And maybe that does take a little time because they're just starting to feel like they're getting KD and Book in a rhythm at the same time. So maybe it does take a little while for Bradley Beal to figure out what those moments are. But you can afford him to only have 7 in a game where you have the 40 from Book, 32 from KD, and you're okay. It's where if KD or Book doesn't have that kind of night, how does Bradley Beal react, and how does he take over moments in the offense?
Again, we're definitely nitpicking at what this was. Right. But I think overall, for the greater good, I thought the Suns played one of their better games of the season. They controlled the game on both ends. They forced the Cavs to utilize players that they don't want to utilize as much as they utilized them tonight. Going to Jared Allen as consistently as they had to, because they were basically playing up on the 3-point shot. That's playing right into the Suns' hands, and they were able to get out and run, get some easy opportunities. They were able to execute in their half court. Like, they played at a high level. They were fantastic. The rotations were much better tonight. And more than anything, they played with effort and purpose. And that's the thing that we always talk about with this team is, do you look like you care out there? Do you look like you want to be out there and play at a high level? Tonight, they certainly did.